Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic podcast. I have another fascinating guest with me today. I was recommended, this guy came highly recommended by one of my subscribers. He said, you have to get Leon Mellul on your show. He's amazing. Leon is the ambassador. He's a Jewish rabbi. He's the ambassador to Rael, who is an extraterrestrial contactee who was contacted by the Elohim, who we might know as the Anunnaki, back in the 60s, which he's going to tell us all about the story. And then he started receiving messages from them. So I'm really excited to hear this. And we're also going to talk about, like, since I have Lebanese heritage and he's Israeli, we're going to talk about Middle Eastern affairs and like kind of how that ties back to the Anunnaki. And so it's going to be a really interesting conversation. And Leon, thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, Rob.
Did I do a good job introducing you, or do you want to introduce yourself, or was that good?
Well, as you did a good job. I am Jewish, originally Jewish, from a traditional Jewish religious family. I have studied Torah. I have studied many books and celebrating many events in Jewish holidays. But we were, as kids, we were born in Morocco, so not all Jews worldwide speak Hebrew. So we were praying like those who pray in Latin without knowing what they were saying. And since I was a child, I was a little bit confused too, because there are many Hebrew plural names, including Elohim and all that, and always say God. But God doesn't fit, because there were many words following or preceding Elohim that were in plural as well, which doesn't mean it's a single God like we have been taught by our parents, by teachers in school as well, and still in the Jewish tradition today. I mean, they still believe and talk about a single God, knowing that the word Elohim is a plural. But according to the tradition, according to the God, the monotheist religions, they still believe in a single God. Listen, they're going to wake up one day, either they like it or not, because the Elohim are going to come back. And not only that, we cannot be alone in the universe, because the word infinite in Hebrew, infinity, is Ein Sof. Ein Sof, which means there is no end. If there is no end, there is no beginning.
Yeah.
Which means life have always been in the universe in different forms. Of course, there are billions and billions of stars and galaxies and humanities out there.
I agree.
Maybe they don't look like us, but they're different civilizations that, we should be aware of that, because when we're going to welcome the Elohim, they're going to invite other civilizations they are friends with, and they have good cooperation with them.
I have a lot of questions, but what I wanted to clarify was for some of my viewers that might not be as advanced as you or I, the word Elohim in the Bible, it says that Elohim created man in their image. And what Leon means is, what that really means is plural. It doesn't mean one God, like a monotheistic. It means gods, plural. The Elohim means
absolutely
gods. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What that means is that the Elohim created man. Listen, let's start at the beginning. In 1973, December 13, a man that was called named Claude Vorillon, he was driving to his office, and all of a sudden he felt the urge to go to a certain volcano where he used to go with his family for picnic. And then when he stopped his car, climbed up the volcano, went down, and then all of a sudden, it was December 13th, it was cold, and he said, well, what I am doing here? I have work to do. And all of a sudden, he saw something shining in the skies. At the beginning, he thought it was an helicopter. There were two flashing lights, one above and one under. And then the spaceship was landing very slowly. So he said, I don't going to move just in case they are aggressive or something. And maybe they will look they will think I am a tree and they will leave. But too bad I don't have a camera to take some pictures of this, because as a journalist of Sportcat magazine, he could have done, a good report a good event on that. Then he saw a ladder open and two legs coming down, so he decided not to move. And then, like a size of a boy, about less than 1.30 meters or 1.50 meters, he saw a man coming with a small beard, long hair, almond-shaped eyes, and he was getting close to him without any weapon, with his face full of light and, and shiny face, no aggressivity at all, no weapons. So the man that was called Claude Vorillon asked him in French, do you speak French? And the extraterrestrial replied, I speak all languages in the world. And do you come here often? Claude Vorillon asked. He told him, I come here many times, and today I come here to speak with you, because we have telepathically induced you to come here today, as we have telepathically induced you 3 weeks ago to buy a Bible translated where the only word that was not changed was Elohim. And that's the only Bible that is called La Pléiade in French, that the word Elohim was not mistranslated by God, because Elohim is a plural, which means in ancient Hebrew, those who come from the skies. And when I give lectures, I have many citations from a religious book, from the Torah, from many other books and scripts confirming the Elohim are an extraterrestrial civilization and not a single God. Then the extraterrestrial invited him to the craft, and he told him, listen, we have telepathically induced you because we have a message to give you for humanity. And the message is as follows. 25,000 years ago, we started manipulating DNA. And then our government didn't allow us to do experiences on our planet. So we found your planet. We came here. It was only, we made like one continent and start creating lives and start creating all kinds of plants, trees, animals, different colors, because they have in their knowledge, because they're 25,000 years ahead of us, they have the way to, by their artists, to design something, to put it on a computer and get something alive out of it. Artists and scientists. And they made so many animals, plants, flowers, smell of the flowers, the trees, different shapes, different animals, different sound for the birds, and so on. And finally, after 13,000 years ago, they start creating man to their image and their likeness. And through the ages, they have been sending prophets from all religions. Among the most important ones, it was Moses, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Joseph Smith, and many others that were sent in Israel, that there were 40 prophets in Israel. Much, bigger or important or less important, they were 40 altogether. Since 1945, when the Americans bombarded Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they find that, it was time that we raise our level of consciousness and become more pacifist, that this will not reproduce again. Because in a couple of minutes, they kill over 300,000 people, which that was a big Holocaust as well. Since then, they have keep sending prophets, and today they told Claude Vorillon, we will have a mission for you. First of all is to spread our message worldwide. And the second one is to build us an embassy, preferably close to Jerusalem, where it's a place that we have created the first laboratory of life. and that you can welcome us. And that embassy is the third temple the Jewish people want to build, but not necessarily by destroying Alaska mosque to put it on that place where the first and second temple were. The Elohim don't want that anymore. It's not, they want something different and peaceful, not in the middle of a city.
I like that, because I think like one of the things I was going to ask you, and this gets a little controversial, but this is important. I have some people that come on my show that think that the Anunnaki or the Elohim, that there might have been some negative factions of them, and that they used religion to divide us. What do you feel about that? Because there's so many different religions. That's why I asked that.
Yeah, the Elohim have a certain technology, and probably they went through all the shit we're going through right now, and we have been going through since a couple of centuries already. Because today, the Elohim are pacifist people, and they don't want us to destroy ourselves, because we are their children, we are their creation. As simple as that. Now, as you know, religious people or leaders, because prior, they were not prime ministers, they were kings and rulers and warriors all over that wanted to possess land and wanted to possess women from others, and so and so and so and so. They abuse of it, and probably they mention that the Elohim have told them to do so and so, which is not necessarily true.
I see what you mean. So there's been an abuse of power by humans.
Of course, like we have today, the same abuse of power by religious leaders and by governments.
It makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Of course it makes sense, because today, what holds the people? The fear of God, as simple as that, and the fear to be one day in with Satan and to be in hell. That's the way to hold people.
Yeah.
To make them afraid. So, when today someone tells, oh, I heard a voice of God that told me to kill my child, that's completely stupid, because they're going to take this person and put him in a psychiatric hospital.
Yeah.
But at the time of Abraham, okay, he wanted to sacrifice his son because God told him so. What we need to understand is that the Elohim have two planets. They have one planet where all the Elohim live, and they have a second planet, which is called the Garden of Eden. And the Garden of Eden in Hebrew is Gan Eden, which means the garden of DNA. And in that garden, some people, first of all the prophets they have sent, they have been recreated after the dead to live among them eternally, because the Elohim have reached eternal life. How they have reached eternal life? They have a life that could expand between 700 and 1,000 years. When the body gets too old after 700 and 1,000 years, because during their life between that time, they still young and no disease at all. But after 700 to 1,000 years, their bodies start getting, old. So what they do, they take one cell for the forehead, they put it in a machine, and they reproduce the same human being by cloning. It's exactly the same clone, the same face, same body, and everything. So they have already the body to replace the old body. Then they have a technology, like today we buy a new computer, and we have an old computer, the memory on the old computer, we transfer it into the new computer. They do the same with human beings. So they can transfer all the memory, their knowledge, their lives, their souvenirs, everything into the new body. And then the old body, they destroy it because it's nothing. And then, some people have lived eternally. That's the way they have eternal life. Now, we have to understand two things. In the government of the planet of the Eternals, there is the leader, which is Yahweh, and there is the leader of the opposition, which is Satan. And Satan is not a devil, and is not a demon. is the leader of the opposition. So the leader of the opposition, sometimes he probably win elections or have more votes than Yahweh. And this is what happened because Satan was always against the creation of life on our planet, because when he see the quality of people it was that they created, he say, well, these people are there to kill each other, to hate each other, to rob each other. What is this creation we have done? Let's destroy it. And this is why it was destroyed during the time of Noah, during the flood.
Atrahasis, right? Or in Samaria.
Sure. At the time of the flood, well, and it is written in Hebrew, the Taram Ateba Me'al Haaretz, which means the ark went above earth, which means that was not an ark, that was not a vessel, because there is no vessel today that can hold so many animals, so much food, and so much things there, you know. And sometimes there were 2 animals of each, and then according to the Bible, to the Hebrew Bible, there were sometimes 7 of each, and so and so and so. Now, if we just think there is no vessel today, there is no ship today that can hold so many people in one shape, in one vessel. Even today, as big as it is impossible. So what happened is that the Elohim put Noah on a spaceship, and they took 1 cell of each animal in a small box like that, and then they reproduce him by cloning after the flood. And in Hebrew, it says the ark went above earth and not float on the water. But sometimes, you know, I have interviews with rabbis, I have meetings with them, I have been lecturing for the last 35 years, and sometimes they don't want to listen, and because it changed it bothers the structure and the basis of Judaism. It's the same thing like in Arab countries, and you're originally from there, from your parents and family and ancestors. If you say there is no God in an Arab country, well, you risk your life.
Well, do you that's what I'm going to ask you. Do you think that there's a God above the Elohim? Do you believe that like there's a supreme creator being?
No, I'm going to tell you why. Because the Elohim have created us, and they have been created by another civilization, which is most difficult to understand, because most people say, well, where was the beginning? If there is no end and the universe is infinite, there is no beginning as well. It's like, you know, I remember when I was a child, I used to live at my grandparents' home, and they had a big wardrobe, and they had 2 mirrors in the middle. And my pleasure was to put myself between the 2 mirrors, and I was looking at myself, thousands of myself on one side and on the other. And where is the beginning and where is the end? And when you see this symbol, which is a symbol of the Elohim, the 2 stars of David represent the infinitely small and the infinitely large. And the swastika is the infinity on time. Now, let me explain what the 2 triangles are. In one atom of one of our cells, it's an infinite universe where there are solar systems, planets, and some of those planets, there is life on them. So it means in one atom in one of our cells is a universe by itself. And this universe by itself have galaxies, have solar system, have planets, exactly like we're seeing outside of ourselves. And one atom of one cell of someone that is maybe a giant or a person, or could be a worm or a plant or something alive, which is not a God. And that's very important to understand that. One atom of this human giant, let's call it, or unhuman giant, we don't know what it is a universe by itself, where there are galaxies, solar systems, planets, and life. And we are in one of these planets, on one of these planets.
That's so interesting. So, so the Elohim were created by someone else. Do we have any idea who they were? And then here's what I wanted to ask you too. I have so many questions. Like, okay, let's go with this. You know, in the Bible, they say the Rephaim, and I believe those were the giants, which could, I wonder if that was like a,
they say the Nephilim.
yeah, but they also say the Rephaim too. Like there's like the Nephilim and the Rephaim. Do you think that these were different factions of the Elohim, or were they the demigods or the
most of them they call about Nephilim, and Nephilim have been mistranslated by giants. It's not that giants. Giants in Hebrew is Anakim. Nephilim comes from the word Naphol, and Naphol in Hebrew is those who fall down, those who come from the skies.
Oh, wow.
These are the Nephilims. Now, probably they were giants. They were, you know, we don't know, because there are so many civilizations, extraterrestrial civilizations out there, that probably before the Elohim created life on our planet was other civilizations maybe created life on our planet. We don't know. And this is maybe the fossils that they find with thousands and thousands of years and so on and so and so on their data. But I don't know. I don't know. That's my personal conclusion, which doesn't involve the Raelian movement, because only what's on the messages the Elohim give to Rael, their last messenger, that's what we talk about, and this is what we are spreading around. And as I mentioned, I have all the citations from original Bible in Hebrew, and I have for manuscripts confirming, and this is irrefutable, the Elohim are an extraterrestrial civilization, and there are many, not one single God. And this bothers a lot all the Jewish establishment. And I know that for, you know, since many years. I have been lecturing in New York, in Miami, in Montreal, in Europe, in France, in Switzerland, in Belgium, in Italy, and so, Istanbul, and most of the time in Israel, where I used to live for 18 years. But in Israel, it's wonderful because people know the language of the Bible. They speak the language, they speak Hebrew, and then they understand Hebrew. And when you talk to someone that understands Hebrew and you put in front of their eyes all the proofs and all the citations that the Elohim are many and not a single God, and that they come from space, I mean, they understand. But, you know, there are fanatics everywhere, and there are people who don't want to see the truth because of to be conservative and to respect the tradition, which is to be Jewish is to respect traditions. And to respect traditions, once Rael asked a rabbi Rael asked this rabbi, if Moses came down and tell you what he's telling you is the truth and that the Elohim are many, will you believe Moses or the book? He said, no, the book. It's like if Jesus come today and go to the Vatican and say, I am Jesus, they're going to call an ambulance and put him in a psychiatric hospital. Oh, yeah, listen.
Yeah, you're right.
Listen, I don't know if
they don't want to believe
if your family turned to be Christian or not, or you're still originally Muslim, but most of, well, all the Christians wear a cross. They have a cross on their neck. A cross was a torture, something to torture, that at that time they used to torture people by putting them on the cross. And it was not a cross, it was a T, which means that if Jesus was killed on an electric chair, they maybe will hang today an electric chair on their neck, or a bullet if he was shot with a bullet. I mean, okay, they say, oh, the cross is something holy, and the Holy Spirit and the Holy Ghost and so and so and so. But I mean, people today need to think, and this is what the Raelian message is trying to awake people and raise the level of consciousness, because today is time to stop believing and try to understand. And this is what the Elohim wants from us. They don't want any prayers. They don't want any sacrifices. They don't want any bullshit like that. They only want to be recognized and respected. And this is why we have reached the time of apocalypses since 1945, which is revelation and not destruction. If you find the word apocalypsis and translate it from Greek, it means revelation.
I got a question.
We are in the time of revelation now.
Yeah, it seems like we definitely are. Like, does this mean the Elohim will come back? And what do they look like? Or do they look like? You said they created us in their image, so they must look like us.
Exactly like us. Exactly like us.
Then?
Sorry?
Who are the grays then? Are the grays like their workers? The gray?
Well, I haven't heard of any grays. I have heard, according to the description Rael made of the Elohim, maybe there are civilizations that are gray or yellow or yellow or I don't know, maybe brown, who knows? I'm talking here about the Elohim that created us to their image, which means they have the same face like us, same body, 2 hands, 2 arms, they eat, they breathe like us, they have long hair. Well, the man that met with Rael, which was Yahweh himself, he have long hair, almond-shaped eyes, and a little beard. And the skin was a little bit like, you know, like the Asian people.
Okay.
Because probably it was a melting pot where they had 7 races, the same like they created all races on Earth. They had also 7 races. And after so many years, there was a melting pot, you know, relationship between black and yellow and Caucasians and all that. And they now look like that. How are we going to look in 25,000 years or in 10,000 years? We don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay.
And the goal
sorry.
And the goal we want to build this embassy or this 3rd temple is just to welcome the Elohim that people could understand. But before to welcome the Elohim, we need to be pacifist. And the Elohim, they don't want that, you know, trying to come down and someone will shoot them or something like that, because they can blow them up anytime they want. They have the ability to move a solar system by itself. So imagine with an F-16 what they can do, you know, that at the speed they travel, I don't know how many times faster than the speed of light. They can appear and disappear just in a fraction of a second.
That's fascinating. So do we know when they're coming back? Because you said we're in the time of revelation. Like, when does it look like they're going to return?
Listen, according to the message the Elohim give to Rael, it will be between 2025 and 2035. So we're not far. Besides that, it is written in the messages as well that everything will be revealed before the end of our generation. I don't know if I will be alive when they will come, because I'm already at a certain age, but you probably will witness that.
Wow, that's interesting. That really is. Like, I'd love to see. And what about the man who was contacted by them? Is he still alive, and what's he doing now?
Yeah, well, he's still the leader, our spiritual leader. He lives in Japan now, and he's still running the movement. He's our spiritual leader. He's the guide of guides, and he gave us all the instructions that we need to follow according to the messages of the Elohim, and he's still teaching us a lot. And, you know, I have become today what I am thanks to him, because the way he teach, with the love he have with everyone, he have changed the life of millions of people that attended his seminars. And I mean, if someone asks me to describe Rael, I will say he's walking love. He's a person full of love, you know, just You ask him sometimes a question, you say, well, I don't know. Because he doesn't know everything. Ariel was never involved in religions, was never, a fan of any religion. He was not baptized. He was not circumcised. He was not, he's a simple man. And like one of the leaders of the Jewish religion called Rambam say, when the Messiah will come, don't expect him to do miracles. He is a human being normal. He will not raise dead alive. He will not make someone survive or something like that. He's a simple man. And well, that's Rael. And Rael is the Messiah that all Jews are waiting for. But they want maybe probably another one that could be religious and praying and all that, which is not necessary the right person, because they're not the people that choose their last messenger of the Elohim, who is Rael. And are not the ones who choose the Messiah. They are the Elohims who choose them. Like they choose Moses, like they choose Buddha, like they choose Muhammad, and like they choose Rael himself.
And how did you meet Rael? And how did you get into this? Were you a traditional? Let me ask you.
Absolutely.
You a traditional Jewish rabbi, and then you kind of went into this, or?
Well, I was a Jewish scholarship then, and I had been raised in religion, like with my grandparents, where I was living with my grandparents, and then my father was very religious, very strict, and all that. So we had been raised like that in the religion. But, I was always like the black sheep of the family, and always trying to know and always trying not to observe religion. But after all, I got married to a Jewish girl in Montreal, and then I had 2 kids. So I follow all the tradition until one day I discovered the message of the Elohim. And since then, it enlightened my life. All the questions I had since I was a child, I had all the answers in the book Intelligent Design, which is, you can download that at rael.org on our website. Anyone can download these books for free in any languages, because they're all translated in all languages, and they are for free. So anyone that is interested to know more about this revelation, which is of the utmost important for humanity, you can download the book and read it. And then you will have all the answers to your questions.
That's interesting. Well, this has been fascinating. And I just want to ask you real quick, do you think, because since you're from the Middle East, do you think like we'll ever see peace in the Middle East, or do you think it will actually take the Elohim landing here for us to have peace? And not just in the Middle East, because it's not just the Middle East that needs peace. It's
the entire world
that needs peace, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let's hope for the best, because if we continue like that, we can blow up our planet hundreds of times, because the atomic bomb of Hiroshima was maybe like a firework compared to all the bombs that we have on our planet. And if we have a stupid that push on the button, we're all gone. And we have 99.5 chances to auto-destruct ourselves. This is the figures that the Elohim gave to Rael. And this is why Rael asked us to meditate for peace. Every 59 minutes of every hour, we take 1 minute to meditate for peace and send waves of love to the entire humanity and all lives on earth, hoping it will influence, this wave of energy will influence people to be more pacifist. Because it's not only the people that want war, it's the governments that sell them to war, because they want to sell their weapons. We are in a bloody system that it's hold, or all the governments are simply puppets that have been put there by a system. But those behind, who own the banks, who own all the weapon industry and manufacturers, that own all the medias, and that own all the pharmaceutical laboratories. So we're just held by all these people who dictate the laws to what they need to do and what they don't need to do to all governments. And governments just follow because they have no choice. We're run by a mafia, simple as that.
I agree. You couldn't have said it better. We really are. In every country, I think they're all in it together. I believe it's like the when they talk about the 13 families that rule the world and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and all that. Like,
Mhm.
I really believe that. I mean, I believe there's like some kind of Illuminati stronghold that has like its grip on this society, because the things that are done to humans are so inhumane. You know what I mean? Like, nobody treats their fellow human like a brother. They treat them like, I can't believe some of the actions by human beings. It's
Well, we cannot, I don't consider ourselves humans because we are unhumans. When you see people with billions and you see other people that there are 25,000 people every day starving and dying, sleeping on the streets, and someone who is multimillionaire, billionaire, like there is someone in France called Arnaud, who have, I think, 200 and something billions. And they figure out if he gives that fortune to the French people, every French, and they are in France over 60 millions or 70 millions, everyone will have 9 millions. So imagine what this man can do to humanity. What is the purpose to keep all that money? He doesn't going to get old. He doesn't going to get, is going to be eternal? Not at all. He's going to die like everyone. We're all going to die. But what was the purpose of his life? To have 20 houses? To have 200 cars? What is that for?
Yeah.
Today, I mean, is to raise the level of consciousness of everyone, that we can love each other, that we can care about each other, and we can share with each other.
Well, why do you think? I mean, if the Elohim made us, why did we turn out so warlike and so greedy? Why do you? What do you think? What do you think happened there?
Because as Satan said, we were a flop of their creation. There are some good people. And this is why the Elohim, they want us to raise our level of consciousness. And this is the reason why they send the last messenger, who is Rael.
That's cool.
Because they want us to understand. And the minute we will understand that we have all been created equal, that there will not be a God anymore for any religions, that the religions will be abolished, and that the money will be abolished, everybody will love each other, because nobody will need to rob, and nobody will need to work like an idiot to pay their banks, the loans or whatever. Because, as I mentioned in another interview, our grandparents, when they had their own house, they have bought it and paid for it. When they had a car, they have paid for it. Today, everybody have cars, everybody have houses, but doesn't belong to them, belongs to the bank. So this is the modern way of slaving people, to have them work like idiots to pay their debt. And who's making money out of it? The banks, which are run by those billionaires.
I agree. That was very. I couldn't have said it better, right?
We are the whores and they are the pimps.
Yeah, really.
Simple as that.
Makes sense. Yeah. Well, can you tell everybody where to find you? And thank you so much. It was so nice meeting you. And if you could tell everybody where to find you, and just again, thank you so much.
Well, I'm going to give you my email address. I'm going to put it on the chat. l.mel, M-E-L, @rael.org. Here you are. This is my email address. If someone wants to contact me or whatever, they can just write me directly, or they can go to our website, first of all, and read the messages of the Elohim. Because, as I mentioned, they're of the utmost importance to humanity. And this is what will save the world. And tomorrow, I organize planetary meditations for peace every second Saturday, every 2 months. And tomorrow we have one. If you want, I can send you the link. It will be at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And we have about 600-700 people connecting. And then we meditate for peace and send love to the entire humanity and to all lives on earth. And the more people gather, the better it is of the waves of love and energy that we can send.
I like that. Yeah, I could send it. If you could send it to me, I'll go tomorrow. Yeah, definitely.
Sure, and I will send you also the link of the 1 Minute for Peace organization, which Rael requests that we will meditate every hour, every 59 minutes. We have 1 minute of meditation every hour.
All right, Leon. Well, thank you so much. And
My pleasure, Ron. It was anytime. And if you have some questions and if your followers want to have read the book and they want to, if you make another broadcast or another interview and they have questions, I'm ready anytime you want to answer those questions, either on the chat or personal.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And
My pleasure, Ron.
until next time, nice meeting you.
Salam.